Welcome, welcome, welcome. Once again, you're with Reverend Harris. Reverend Harris from the West Coast, the assistant pastor of New Life Church of God, and also the international president of National Network in Action. I'm also the founder of Real Talk with the #1 Doctors. It's myself and Dr. Gene Kennedy out of Atlanta, Georgia. We are here taping our next episode with our same sister, entrepreneur, pastor, and now she's into health, I just found out. And so we're going to talk about health for a little bit. She's going to educate us on some different things that are going on, some knowledge. Knowledge is power, and that's something that we must understand and we must teach each and every one across the world. And so, Sister Wanda, we have interviewed you earlier about Black history. We kind of talked about, really haven't got into your entrepreneurial business yet, but we want to talk about health. We know that health, when we go to the hospital, we see a lot of folk in there for different and various reasons. Even myself, we deal with high blood pressure, too much salt, eating on that pig all the time, that bacon and ham and all that good stuff, and we're frying foods, and that oil gets in our arteries, and then we have the bypasses. And what's going on right now? We have people on dialysis, the kidney transplant, bone marrows. But why is it that our ancestors, not saying that our ancestors was not sick at any point in time, but it seems like our ancestors lived longer than we're living today. My grandmother is like 85 years old, right? And she had 7 children, and she's buried all her children. She only have 3 children that's alive right now, and the rest of them has passed on. I mean, why is our grandparents living longer than we are?
Well, money, and more money.
I knew she was going to say that. New Jack City, money.
I sell vitamins. I have an association with several different vitamin companies. And so through one of the companies, they do give us some teachings. And some of the information that I've been taught is, we're in a bad habit right now. We have a bad habit of eating. Our body was made a certain way. We're supposed to eat maybe a small meal every 2 to 3 hours. And that's not the way we were brought up. That's not the way we were brought up. And so now we have a habit of eating the way we eat. So now what we have to do is go back and break these habits. And so what I do is I go around teaching 8 life habits that we need to try to implement back into our life. And in addition to the habits, there's some vitamins that you can take to help you along the way. But just basically, we just have bad habits. And the reason why we have the bad habits is because of the history of what's going on. I guess during slavery time, our parents, they didn't know where the next meal was going to come from. So I guess when they fixed you a plate, when they had food, they just made you eat all this food. Because they didn't know where the next food was going to come from. So eat this big plate. And so when they sit you down at the table, then when they fix you a plate, they just put all this. We don't need all that food. We only need maybe a handful of food. And all this other food that we eat, it just packs on to us. And our body's like, what are they trying to do to me? Giving me all this stuff. And so we're overcrowding our body. We're making our heart work extra hard to try to process through the fat. Because the fat, when we take that fat in, it coats our cells. And then we get fatter and fatter and fatter. And our heart has to pump through all of that to get to the heart. And the heart is just working overtime. But we would have to really change some life habits. And I have 8. I just want to give you our 8 habits that you can just try in your life. Right. 8 new habits. The first one is just drink water. Drink water. Water. I never knew that water was so important until I myself had to have an emergency surgery because my body was so dry, just locked up on me. Lack of water. So we must drink water. Maybe 8 to 12 glasses of water a day. That's the first life habit. If you're not drinking water, we need to start drinking water. The next thing we need to do is to start eating meals, small meals, every 2 to 3 hours. And then the next thing is to start reading your labels. You gotta read the labels because we only need about...
When you say labels, what are labels?
Labels on the food that you're buying. You know, when you go to the grocery store, look at the label to see what's actually in that food. Try to make sure that there are no trans fats in your food. But in order to know that there are no trans fats in there, you have to read the label. Because they may try to slip it in. They just made a rule now that they have to expose what they have in all these foods now. So that's why it's so important to read the label of whatever you're buying. And like I said, 30 grams of carbohydrates is all you need for one meal. In order for you to know that there's only 30 grams of carbohydrates in that particular item that you purchase, you have to read the label. Because the label, it may say, just say if you buy rice, you might buy rice. It'll tell you 1 cup of rice equals maybe 45 grams of carbohydrates.
Right.
So you know you have to gauge yourself. You can't eat that whole cup because that's more than 30 grams.
Wow. So you have to know how to read.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know the old saying, you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in a book.
Oh, yeah.
That's the old saying.
Yeah. You have to include some omega-3 fatty acids in your diet. Omega-3, that comes from fish, you know, you could do supplements.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another habit that we need to really implement into our life is try not to eat no more than within 3 hours from your bedtime.
Really? Now why is that?
Because when you're going to sleep, your body is into like your body breaks down when you're going to sleep. So if you have a lot of food in your system,
right,
when you're going to go to bed, that food is not going to process.
Oh. So you mean like getting up 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning like me, going to fix a hamburger or something?
Well,
oops, I'm telling on myself.
Okay, and if you lay right back down, that's just going to tell your body, you know, start storing it up as fat.
So why is it, Minister Wanda, that we go to hometown buffet? And to let everybody know, Sister Wanda went to hometown buffet and didn't let me know that they went and called me and said, we had hometown buffet. I'm like, well, I wanted to go. But why is it that we have this habit of eating and then all of a sudden we get sleepy and we want to lay down instead of go walking or walking that food?
Well, certain foods that you eat make you sleepy.
Really?
Yeah, carbohydrates
Make you sleepy?
make you sleepy.
So you mean when I go to hometown buffet, I'll fix me a plate like this?
Now see, once you know the rules, this is what I'm telling you, once you know the rules and the life habits, when you go to hometown buffet, you're going to try to eat more vegetables.
Okay.
You're going to try to stay away from all those bad carbs.
Okay.
The bread.
Bread is bad?
The
Are you
bread.
serious?
Like you may be able to have one roll.
Uh-huh.
One roll might be less than